Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Jim Kircher. The Muslim Community Services of St. Louis is a local organization of medical professionals and others that coordinate community service projects across the area. One such project is the Salam Clinic, which offers free medical screenings and services for the uninsured. Another is a Memorial Day barbecue at a VA hospital. Volunteers, young and old, participate in the annual event and spend time with veterans. Producer Lara Hamdan attended this past Monday's event and has more.
As the weather gets warmer and schools start to let out, Memorial Day marks the unofficial start of summer, making barbecues on the day a popular friends and family tradition. But at its core, the national holiday is a solemn one, filled with tributes to the American servicemen and women who passed away while on active duty. It's also when many Americans volunteer their time to give back to their local communities. One such occasion is an annual Memorial Day barbecue at the Jefferson Barracks Division of the VA Medical Center in South St. Louis County. For the past 12 years, the Muslim Community Services of St. Louis has put together a barbecue to serve patients and staff at the VA hospital, and to create an environment where volunteers and veterans can get to know one another.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
This past Memorial Day was no exception. Why a barbecue?
We said when we barbecue and especially kids are involved and we serve the food, we set up the tables, we set up the chairs, we make the salad, then kids get actually hand-on experience. It's not that just spend money and somebody else does a job and you just give the package or boxes of the food.
That's Dr. Bahar Bastani. He's a professor of medicine that emphasizes in nephrology and kidney transplantation at St. Louis University. He's of Irani descent and one of the founders of the Muslim Community Services of St. Louis, also referred to as the MCSL.
Somewhere around 2007, a group of Muslims, we got together, we said that after September 11, 2001, Muslims had been sort of withdrawing and they were not feeling comfortable in public, and we said actually no, we should do the reverse. We should actually be in public, we should be visible, we should do community services, and especially our kids should get involved.
He says a key part of the barbecue isn't necessarily just the food, but what happens after the food is served.
After we have served all the hamburgers and barbecue chicken, we want the kids to sit with the veterans and listen to the story of their lives. So what wars they went, what happened that they went to divorce. So there are a lot of things kids can learn. And some of these veterans have been here at the hospital rehab center for 10 years or more, and they may not have any visitors. So they appreciate so much that they see suddenly some young people are interested to listen to the story of their lives. So it is mutual learning and experience for both sides.
The interactions weren't lost on VA patient James, who served during the Korean War.
I felt wonderful knowing that even the youths are, I can't say, I think they might refer to it as they're hesitant, to meet each other, because you know how it is when you meet someone that is totally opposite of what you are, but you do have, from the eye contact and from certain conversation, talking about certain international incidents, they do have something in common.
Involvement of the youth goes way back with the MCSL, and Ali Sehi was among its early volunteers. Sehi is part of the Irani-American community and participated in the organization's first Jefferson Barracks Memorial Day barbecue back when he was 14. Sehi's 26 now and is a graduate student at St. Louis University. He described what led him to continue volunteering at the event.
Back then it was a very, contentious time within the social atmosphere for people of Muslim background here in St. Louis. Because that was in the midst of the Iraq War. There was a lot of, mistrust towards people of Middle Eastern descent, or anywhere with like a Muslim-dominant country, and so it was definitely something that I felt an obligation toward. It was something I thought was worth doing annually.
Throughout the years, Sehi says he's learned how to navigate interacting with the veterans.
I've actually become more reluctant to not ask them about their stories because, they've gone through a lot, especially since they came back from campaigns and from active duty, and their lives have definitely changed. And I don't want to, I want this day to be a day of comfort for them. They're here to eat food and enjoy interacting with new people and their friends. And, some of these people here have been here in this hospital for months to years. And so, I think this is a day for them to not be reminded of trauma or their afflictions.
Would it just be like conversations about like sports? I see you're wearing a Cardinals hat,
Sure,
or stuff like that?
Anything. We just talked about food. I think that's the best thing to talk about. Anybody can, connect on food.
For the past few years, though, talking about food has been a little different for many of the volunteers, since Memorial Day has coincided within the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. The month is a time where practicing Muslims participate in daily fasting if they're able to. The volunteers still buy and prepare all the ingredients and marinate the food, but to make fasting a little easier, the organizers have been teaming up with locally based barbecue service Taste of Romeo's to help cook the meat. Among the volunteers fasting and sharing her life experiences at the barbecue was Farida Sema Sidki. She described what fasting means to her and others.
It's a test for you and a challenge for you as a person that, you can make that sacrifice, doing that, being able to serve others and not break your fast. I think it's a test on the person themselves and to strengthen your willpower and your obedience to Almighty God Allah.
Sidki's currently the treasurer at Al Mu'minun Islamic Center in North St. Louis and is retired from the Army Aviation Troop Command and the Army Corps of Engineers. This was her first time at this particular event, but for her, it came full circle.
Well, I do a lot of community service and volunteer work in the inner city there with Al Mu'minun, and I've been working with Dr. Bassani for quite a while, and they told me that they were going to be doing feeding the veterans. I have a military family. I have 9 brothers, 5 of whom served in the military, and all 5 of my uncles. As a matter of fact, several of them are buried here at Jefferson Barracks now. So to be able to assist, and I have my youngest son is a veteran from the United States Army, and he is disabled also. So I was very happy to come out and take part in this.
So this kind of really resonated personally with you and your story.
Yes, absolutely. It's like giving back. They've given their lives, all in all. So this is just something small that I can do, and I was excited when they asked me to come out and assist.
Muslims play an essential part in the military, defending the United States' interests. They fought in major U.S. wars, including the Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and more recently in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Thank you. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna go with the Cheetos. Thank you. Good choice.
Back at the event, Dr. Bastani says there's always more than enough food to go around, and reiterated that it's not just the patients invited to participate in the gathering.
We see all the nurses, some physicians who may be on call, they all join for lunch. And we see the old faces and we see the new faces also, who learned gradually that we are here. And many of them are actually waiting for us every year to meet with us and to have lunch. In the past 2 years since we are fasting, we cannot share food with them, but we are honored to serve food to them.
One of the nurses was Tom Moore. He's a veteran himself and served 26 years in the United States Air Force. 16 of those years were spent in the Middle East. This was his second time attending the annual barbecue.
Which, by the way, is one of the better meals that is presented for barbecues from the other agencies. Not knocking the other agencies that come in for barbecue. And especially during Ramadan, when there are servers who are actually fasting while we're eating in front of them. I always thought that was one of the more difficult things.
Moore says he's seen the interactions at the event help challenge stereotypes and misconceptions of the Muslim community and military.
I believe that there is, like anything, a prejudice, not so much with the older community that I see with our Vietnam veterans that we have, but with more of the new veterans that are out right now who actually have served over in the Mideast and seen a lot of atrocities on both sides. And it's like anything, everybody has to heal. And I think this is a part of the process, too. especially for me, serving the many years I have over in the Mideast in different countries, and as a medic, helping out both sides of the war and seeing that tragedy. So it's refreshing for me, and it's a good thing to see that the Muslim faith, our community, would come out and then help us celebrate Memorial Day.
Dr. Bastani assured attendees that the Muslim Community Services of St. Louis plans to continue their tradition of serving veterans on Memorial Day with the saying, Inshallah, which means God willing.
Inshallah, next year we'll be here also. So be prepared. Don't eat breakfast next year so that we have lunch with us, okay?
That was producer Lara Hamdan talking with participants at the annual Memorial Day barbecue at the Jefferson Barracks Division of the VA Medical Center in South St. Louis County. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.
St. Louis Public Radio's The Gateway gives you the day's news first thing every weekday morning. From the ever-evolving relationship between St. Louis City and County to developments in the Missouri and Illinois state capitals and reports from our correspondents in Rolla and the Metro East. We put it all in a roughly 10-minute package with clarity and context. Download The Gateway wherever you get podcasts.